let's see. We got flash feeds, X-pop, how XG are breaking the borders. Calm little 19-minute documentaries. It's real quick, real sweet. Hopefully they're on base with everything that we have in our minds. Let's see.
Different kind of body. That type of girl don't got her inside of gonna keep you on your tippy toes. Watch the way we move, the way we work, the way we glow. They ain't ready for us, we about to rip the game.
Have I seen that music video?
Looking at him, trying to catch up, take it how you wanna take it. Left the place in panic, left to take another planet, left to make another statement.
If you've ever scrolled through music forums or social media, you've seen the war. J-pop fans and K-pop fans going at each other's throats like their lives depend on it. K-pop stans flooding comment sections, claiming their genre is superior because of its polished production, billion-dollar marketing campaigns, and global domination. They point to sold-out world tours, YouTube records, and Western chart success as proof that K-pop simply does better. But J-pop fans fire right back, calling K-pop manufactured, overly westernized, a product designed in boardrooms rather than born from artistic vision. They argue J-pop maintains authenticity, offers more creative freedom, and doesn't force artists into cookie-cutter molds. It's not just music preference anymore. It's identity. It's pride. It's vicious. Then in March 2022, 7 Japanese girls stepped into this battlefield and said we're neither. Meet XG. All 7 members born and raised in Japan. But they didn't debut in Tokyo. They promoted in Seoul. They appeared on Korean music shows. They trained under Korean producers. Yet their lyrics? Mostly English. Their image? Global from day one. Netizens lost their minds trying to categorize them. Are they K-pop? The Korean fans said no, you're Japanese, you don't belong here. Are they J-pop? The Japanese fans said no, you trained in Korea, you abandoned us. Some called them traitors. Others called them opportunists. XG's response was simple. They called it X-pop. Music without borders. Music that transcends nationality. A bold claim that most people weren't ready to accept. But this story isn't just about a label or a marketing strategy. It's about 7 young women who sacrificed everything to exist in a space that wasn't supposed to exist. And the question everyone's asking now is whether they actually pulled it off. Let's go back to understand why XG even needed to exist. Japan's music industry has always been a fortress. Massive domestically, virtually invisible internationally. While K-pop groups were selling out stadiums in Los Angeles and breaking into the Billboard Hot 100, J-pop stayed comfortable at home. Avex, one of Japan's biggest entertainment companies, watched K-pop's global rise with frustration. They dominated Asia for decades, but suddenly Korean groups were everywhere, doing what Japanese artists never quite managed to do, taking over the world. So Avex made a decision. If K-pop's training system works, use it. In the mid-2010s, they quietly sent 7 Japanese girls to Seoul. Jurin, Chisa, Hinata, Harvey, Juria, Maya, and Kokona. Some were barely teenagers. They spent years traveling back and forth, spending long stretches in Seoul to train under one of the most demanding systems in the industry. 5 years of waking up before dawn for vocal lessons. 5 years of dancing until their feet bled and their bodies gave out. 5 years of learning choreography so complex that one mistake meant starting over. 5 years in a culture that was similar enough to feel familiar, but different enough to be alienating. Japanese culture values harmony and politeness. Korean training culture values directness and relentless pushing. These girls had to adapt or break. Behind the scenes, they trained in Korea under a K-pop style system. They learned Korean, absorbed the work ethic, perfected the precision that K-pop demands. But here's the twist. Publicly, executives kept emphasizing that XG was not K-pop, that they were something else. That kind of messaging can easily create an identity crisis. Training alongside Korean trainees, following the same brutal schedule, but being reminded constantly that you'll never be one of them. At the same time, they were drifting further from their Japanese roots. Too Koreanized for Japan. Too Japanese for Korea. Existing in limbo. And the fans...
All right, let me pause right there. That's actually that's something that I guess I didn't really take. I didn't really think about that. The fact that because of the way they went about training and everything, it would make sense that in the beginning stage, at the very least, when they're first starting out, that they probably didn't, um, they wouldn't be accepted. Like finding that initial acceptance group would be very difficult to do. You said they're going over a little bit. I feel like they kind of have to be because was correct me if I'm wrong. Was it not Simon that would have approached Avex, not Avex just was it Simon that went to Avex and pitched the idea, or was it Avex that told Simon to find people that would fit it? Because I feel like there's the fact that they didn't mention him at all. I feel is a little bit not disingenuous, but it just feels a little bit off. So okay, so he went to Avex. Okay, all right, cool. That's what I was thinking. So Simon goes to Avex, pitches the idea. I'm sure there was like a lot of stipulations and a lot of like requirements and like background stuff that went into it. And they're like, because obviously it seems like a very it's a risky bet to place. I'd wager, right? If J-pop has a very niche window, but K-pop obviously, as we like being in America, knowing that everybody's talking, like a lot of the younger people are talking about it, just in general, it makes sense that it would be seen as like a little bit of a gamble, especially when you say, hey, our system doesn't work. I think we should push the boundaries and try something new, try something different, try something our competitors, if you want to call them that, are doing, and it's reaching global height. It's reaching global heights, and I guess in essence, he kind of has to pitch it in the beginning as like we can like at worst, right? They just end up being okay. They just end up being okay. You make the same amount of money as you do right in regular J-pop situations, but at best, they rival K-pop. And name the top five groups that you think when you think K-pop, they're right there with them. But instead of it being a K-pop group, you get to claim them as being Japanese. Hmm. Hmm. Think about the money. Think about how lucrative this could be. At worst, you could just kind of shrug it off, but at best, hmm, I think that kind of pitch would probably go better in a boardroom of people because the bottom line for a lot of companies is like the biggest thing. But I would definitely wager that if he pitched it in the way of like even the 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 reward vastly outweighs the risk of undertaking this project, because at the end of the day they could just distance themselves and be like, oh, it was a failed experiment, sweep it under the rug. But it worked, and we're seeing the fruits of the labor now. So any initial like distaste that a lot of just regular people probably had for it, which I'm sure there was some, because it's like, I don't think they viewed them as traitors per se. I feel like traitors is a little bit of a harsh word to use. I think it's kind of like maybe some people just had some distaste for the fact that they just took a completely alternative route. Like, oh, some people that might be super J-pop stands and really might not like the way K-pop just appeals to more Western audiences for the sake of money and stuff. Maybe they did say, oh, why are they going over? They're literally going over to Korea to do that. They can't just learn it over here. They can't just switch stuff over here. I could kind of view that. I could kind of understand that viewpoint. Um, but at the same time, it's like there's a current ceiling that J-pop must have been experiencing at the time. So the question becomes, okay, if we want to change stuff, if we want to find a new way, how do we do it? And there wasn't very many viable changes outside of the obvious. And I think it's very, very worthwhile on their part. You said there's a deep-seated animosity between Korea and Japan because of their that yeah. We can't make brazen freight conversation without covering that part. Yeah, especially during World War II. Simon, you meant to say Simon. I think it's autocorrected. Simon being both. Oh, he's half Japanese and half Korean. Felt like he didn't belong to either culture. He was also born in Seattle, so he's an American. He has American citizenship as well. I think it helped create an idea in his head that he needed something more global to break the stigma between them and help break down some of the borders and old hate. That I'm not gonna lie, that might be that's really really good. That's a really good storyline and background for a character. one person Simon had connection with at Avex put him into contact with the higher ups. That one connection is now on the main staff for the Xgal. Okay. All right. That's awesome, actually. That's actually really, really awesome. Give up the sense. Hey, XG, they don't include anything K-pop plus they're so much better than they are. America and the West accepted XG properly before SEA did. Like the HITC performance shows why the girls were in tears after the performance. Fair. I the historical significance between both countries, I think, definitely puts a big thing on it. Yeah, because there's some deep seated animosity there. Oh, imperialism, right? But I definitely I like this a lot. I like this a lot. Also puts them in the no zone for genres. They don't get nominated for American awards because they're seen as K-pop, and they don't really get recognized overseas because they aren't K-pop. Ah, fair. Dang, they're literally paving a way.
On both sides were watching with suspicion. K-pop fans accused them of appropriating the culture, taking the training and success formula without earning the right to call themselves K-pop. J-pop.
That line didn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm wrong. That line didn't make sense to me. Taking the training and methods, but not what?
The training and success formula without earning the right to call themselves K-pop.
How does one earn the right to call themselves K-pop if you came over to learn everything and you didn't shortcut anything? Appropriation to me would be they just gambled and you know, for lack of better phrasing, just half-assed it. I think that would be appropriating the K-pop genre. But if you literally went over there to train under them, like sensei and disciple, I don't like teacher and student. I don't understand that line per se. Maybe that's in over exaggeration. Maybe it's just misphrased. But if that was an actual thing, that's a weird sentiment to have. Dude, yes, they are in the line of fire constantly in the context of this, especially when the people at home, if at this point J-pop doesn't accept them and try and claim them, right? Even if you don't love what they've done or love the decisions that they made as a group and as an organization, right? For you to sit there and completely just discredit them and act like you don't need that kind of, or need might be a strong word, you wouldn't like to have that type of success, is kind of crazy. I feel like you should incorporate them, because it's not like clearly K-pop isn't saying, oh yeah, they're ours, we own that, yeah, that's us, they came over here and we did right, yeah. They're saying no. So if that's the case, I feel like we should definitely like come home, you're fantastic, prop you up on a pedestal. I feel like that would be the most logical thing to do. I feel like it doesn't make, I don't know, maybe it's just me, right? Maybe it's just me. Someone like saying they shouldn't be rapping overseas because it didn't come from overseas. There we go. Crazy work. Unfortunately, people still have a weird mentality. That's why the PS 118 song was so also special. Hey, like I say, if you can't appreciate good music and you can't just say good music is good music, I worry for them. I worry for those type of people.
J-pop fans felt betrayed, like these girls had sold out, chosen the enemy's methods over their own heritage. XG wasn't even officially a group yet, and they were already caught in crossfire from every direction. 7 girls working harder than most people ever will, and the world was deciding they didn't belong anywhere. Then July 2022 hit, and everything exploded. Max Matsuura, the founder and chairman of Avex, went live on a streaming platform. He was talking casually, discussing the company's plans, the competitive music landscape. And then he said it. Why do we have to lose to Koreans? He continued, explaining that Avex had used Korean producers and the Korean training system to develop XG. On the surface, it sounded like an executive expressing competitive frustration. The music industry is cutthroat. Executives talk about winning and losing all the time. He wasn't making a political statement. He wasn't trying to be racist. But context doesn't matter when the internet gets involved. The clip spread like wildfire. Translations appeared, some accurate, some exaggerated. Netizens dissected every syllable, adding their own interpretations, their own venom. Korean fans were furious. How dare he reduce our producers, our culture, our entire system to just a tool he used? Japanese fans were embarrassed. This confirmed what they feared, that XG was just a corporate strategy, not a genuine artistic project. International fans jumped in, accusing AVIX of exploitation and disrespect. The comments flooded in. Boycott XG. They're using Korea and pretending it doesn't matter. They don't respect the culture. And in the middle of this firestorm were 7 young women who had nothing to do with that live stream. Imagine reading those comments. Imagine years of sacrifice, of training until your body breaks, of learning a new language and adapting to a new culture, all reduced to we just used Korean producers. Imagine being told your hard work is nothing but a marketing ploy, that you're pawns in a corporate game, that you don't deserve to exist. XG was supposed to debut as this bold new concept, this bridge between worlds. Instead, they were being torn apart before they even had a chance to prove themselves. The backlash was intense enough that it threatened to end them. Online, calls to boycott the group spread, and the controversy cast a shadow over their promotions just months after debut. The same Korean music programs that had welcomed them started receiving hate for giving Japanese artists a platform. Everything they'd worked for was crumbling because of words they didn't say. But here's where it gets interesting. Months later, Scalk's CEO and XG's executive producer Simon Jacobs, the man who'd been with these girls through their entire training journey, stepped in. He posted an Instagram statement carefully addressing the controversy without throwing anyone under the bus. He emphasized that XG was built by a multinational team and aiming to transcend national labels, stressing their respect for all cultures they work with, that the members had deep appreciation for their Korean collaborators, that this was about creating something new, not disrespecting something old. It wasn't perfect damage control, but it was something. The controversy didn't erase the damage.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a great PR move right there. They needed that badly. And it's really rough to sit there. Obviously, this is the internet, right? So as soon as you say something, they can clip up anything that you say and just throw whatever out there, right? They do it all the time, right? For clicks, views, clip pages. Clip pages have been some of the most useful things in the world and some of the worst things in the world. Twitter fingers have been some of the best things in the world for quick information and some of the worst because they take stuff out of context. So the fact that the hate was that serious to the point where everybody's sitting there spreading boycott stuff because they didn't appreciate it. You act like there was just a plugin, like they stole the magic code that just magically made them better. No, they had to go to work every day. They had to dog it out every day. I don't understand the thought process behind sitting there and just trash talking them as if they just showed up. They just showed up on Monday and said, "Hey, so can we get the installment?" And then all of a sudden they just know how to sing and dance the exact same way and put together all the tools and have all the methods. When you think, I have a tendency, right? And I feel like a lot of us have that tendency to believe that some people are smarter than they actually are. Believing that the average person, dare I say, is more intelligent than the average than they actually are. And they're not, because sometimes there's a take and you just stare at it. It's like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about, actually? Is it for me, anyone who survives the Korean Idol training has every right to claim they're K-pop or not? Literally, if they didn't cut corners, that's the thing. They didn't cut corners. There was no shimmying around. They did it. They worked for it. If I can't bench press 315, so I go to a private gym and that trainer teaches me and I get up to 315, you can't tell me I don't bench 315. I do. I did the work as he prescribed, and I bench 315. That's brain cells, right? Had to leave their families for months at a time to train in a foreign country, learn a whole new language, and this was from the time they were ages 12, 13. Hey, I don't think it's hyperbole to say that part, Flash. I don't think it's hyperbole. Bro, we're talking about years. We're not talking about 3 months. They went on a summer camp. They got after it.
The stain lingered and XG still had to promote under that cloud. They still had to show up on Korean music shows, smile for the cameras, perform like nothing was wrong. The members had a choice to make. Retreat, give up, let the hate win. or push forward and prove everyone wrong. They chose to fight, not with words, but with work. They doubled down on their training, perfected their craft even more, started building genuine relationships with the Korean producers, dancers, stylists, and choreographers they worked with, not for optics, but because they genuinely respected the people helping them. They showed up early, stayed late, asked questions, listened, learned. Slowly, the people working directly with them started speaking up. These girls are the real deal. They're not here to exploit anyone. They're here to create. The small victories started coming. They appeared on Korean music shows despite the controversy. Some hosts were skeptical at first, but the members' humility and skill won people over. They weren't cocky. They weren't pretending to be something they weren't. They were 7 young women trying to carve out space in a world that didn't want to make room for them. And the question that haunted everyone was whether 7 individuals could change a narrative that billion-dollar corporations couldn't. January 2023. Shooting Star dropped with Left Right as its B-side. And everything shifted. A few weeks later, Shooting Star went viral on TikTok, but not because of some coordinated marketing push. It went viral because people couldn't stop watching. The choreography was sharp, synchronized, and powerful. The vocals were clean and confident. The rap verses hit hard. This wasn't hype. This wasn't manufactured buzz. This was undeniable talent forcing people to pay attention. Kokona and Maya's rap verses made critics who said they couldn't compete with K-pop rappers look foolish. Harvey and Jurin's vocals proved they weren't just another group following a formula. They had substance. Then came the milestone that no one expected. XG became the first Japanese group to chart on the US media-based Top 40. Not through radio play deals or industry connections, but through organic streaming and genuine fan support. The B-side song Left Right was everywhere. People who didn't care about the J-pop versus K-pop debate were adding it to their playlists. It transcended the fan wars because it was just good. But the moment that really changed everything was Gaul's Cypher, an all-female rap cypher featuring the rap line, Kokona.
C to the OCO and AB popping on the 808s. Who would have downloaded it would turn up on it like a fadeaway.
Maya.
Yo, tiptoeing all around the globe, leaving tracks to the Tokyo. Only spit facts while this capping.
Jurin.
Jurin got the 5 flame flavor. When the spice kicks, you taste the game changer. Big words coming out of there, no break.
And Harvey.
Everything with Chelsea knows. Yeah, I'm not trying to be the next one, so but we catching up on him close. Ain't no pause button, no.
Going back and forth, spitting bars with confidence and skill that silenced the doubters. The video went viral worldwide. Reactors on YouTube couldn't believe what they were hearing. These are Japanese girls? Where did this come from? The comment sections shifted. Less hate, more respect. Each member's individual strengths started getting recognized. Hinata's dance precision, Chisa's magnetic stage presence, Juria's versatility across rap, vocals, and performance. They weren't just a group anymore. They were 7 distinct artists who happened to work together perfectly. Then Coachella happened, not with XG on stage yet, but with Jackson Wang and Sierra performing a remix of XG's Left Right during his set. 2 global superstars chose their song for a huge festival stage, putting XG's music in front of a massive new audience. The Western crowd didn't care about the controversy. They didn't care about the labels. They heard a song made by 7 talented women at one of the world's biggest festivals and they screamed. That's when it became clear. The borders that mattered so much in Asia didn't exist in the West. American and European fans didn't wake up arguing about whether XG was J-pop or K-pop. They just added the songs to their playlists and moved on. The member's greatest strength. Different background.
I will say that is arguably the biggest, one of the biggest determiners for Americans. We in the Western world, either you got it or you don't. Either it's fire or it's trash. And I like seeing this. Yes, we peeped one of them. We peeped one of them earlier today, as a matter of fact.
different strengths, unified by a single vision. Be so good that the labels don't matter anymore. And then 2024 arrived and XG announced their first world tour. 47 shows across 18 countries. North America, Europe, Asia, Australia, everywhere. The girls who left Japan as teenagers, told they didn't belong anywhere, were now preparing to perform for the entire world. The tour sold out, not just in major cities, but in places where J-pop groups rarely venture. Fans who discovered them through TikTok, through YouTube reactors, through Spotify playlists, were buying tickets. The shows were electric. 7 members pouring everything they had into every performance. The choreography was flawless. The vocals were live and powerful. The stage presence was undeniable. They proved night after night that they earned their spot. But the pinnacle was still coming. Coachella 2025. Not a collaboration this time. A headline slot on the Sahara stage. XG became the only Japanese act on the lineup and the first Japanese female artists to ever headline that stage. Think about what that means. Coachella, one of the most prestigious music festivals in the world, looked at a group that couldn't be categorized and said, "You belong here." The performance was everything. The 7 members.
That's a really good way to put that, by the way. A group that didn't have a home and told them that you belong here. That's very impactful phrasing right there.
Walked onto that stage in front of a massive crowd, the California sun setting behind them, and for a moment, they must have thought about everything it took to get there. The 5 years of training in a foreign country, the cultural barriers, the hate comments, the controversy, the doubt. Standing there, looking at thousands of people who didn't care where they came from, who just wanted to see them perform. The crowd chanted XG. Not J-pop, not K-pop, just XG. Harvey's vocals soared over the desert. Kokona and Maya's rap verses hit like thunder. Hinata, Chisa, and Juria's dance moves were captured on thousands of phones, clips that would go viral within hours. The energy was insane. When the set ended, the members stood together, arms around each other, soaking it in. They'd done it. They'd proven that you don't have to fit into a box to succeed. You don't have to choose a side. You can be everything at once. The tour concluded with a finale at Tokyo Dome. Home. The place where this journey started. Performing in front of their own people, no longer questioned, no longer doubted. The Japanese audience that once called them traitors was now cheering. The same fans who said they abandoned J-pop were waving their light sticks. Because XG had shown them something they didn't know was possible. You can honor your roots while reaching for the world. You can train in Korea, sing in English, and still be authentically Japanese. The borders only exist if you let them. So what did XG actually prove? That X-pop is real. It's not a gimmick. It's not a marketing term. It's a genuine approach to music that refuses to be limited by nationality. 7 members who trained in Korea but never pretended to be Korean. Who debuted with global ambitions but never forgot they were Japanese. Who sing primarily in English but incorporate Japanese and Korean when it fits. Multilingual, multicultural, but unified in vision. Each member's personal journey reflects the larger message. Jurin, the leader, had to navigate being the face of a group that half the world wanted to fail. Chisa brought elegance and maturity to a concept people called manufactured. Hinata's dance ability forced critics to admit that talent transcends training location. Harvey's voice became one of the most recognizable in the industry despite all the noise. Juria showed versatility that proved they weren't just following a formula. Maya and Kokona's rap skills shut down anyone who said Japanese artists couldn't compete in that space. 7 individuals who grew from criticized trainees into respected artists. The industry is slowly catching up. Other companies are watching XG's success and reconsidering the rigid nationality-based categories. Young artists in Japan are realizing they don't have to choose between staying local or abandoning their identity. Young artists in Korea are seeing that collaboration and fusion can create something bigger than competition. XG opened a door. They proved that talent and innovation matter more than passports. The fan wars haven't completely stopped. There are still people arguing in comment sections about whether XG counts as J-pop or K-pop. But those arguments feel smaller now. Less important. Because the group already moved past that debate. They're performing at Coachella. They're touring the world. They're collaborating with global superstars. They're doing everything people said they couldn't do. And the impact goes beyond XG. There are younger groups now, hybrid acts from different countries, experimenting with sounds and training methods that cross borders. They're watching XG's blueprint and realizing it's possible. The next generation won't waste time arguing about labels. They'll just make music. XG's legacy isn't about winning the J-pop versus K-pop war. It's about showing that the war itself is pointless. 7 girls who refused to be boxed in, who endured hatred, controversy, and doubt, and came out the other side as pioneers. The borders aren't just breaking, they're becoming irrelevant. And that's exactly what XG wanted from the beginning, to exist beyond limits, to prove that music is music, and talent is talent, and the only thing that really matters is whether you're good enough to make people listen. They were. They are. And that's the story of how XG broke every border that tried to contain them.
The robotic voice was kind of frying me a little bit right there towards the end. But honestly, that was actually very well placed. That was a very well placed video. I like that, and they put it into most of the information obviously was already known, but it was just nice to get that added context of like how rough that start probably would have had to be, considering that they probably weren't accepted on either side. But I like that a lot. Regardless, if you make good music, you deserve to make it. And they make good music. They have great choreography. And they're just nice girls that enjoy being silly when they're not performing. So it makes sense to me.